Have you ever wondered what an animal might do in the moment it is set free after being rescued by a human? I used to think I was ready, that when I opened the cage door, the little squirrel would just bolt straight into the green forest and disappear forever. But as my trembling hand slowly lifted that door, my heart suddenly tightened. In front of me was not just a tiny creature, but a piece of memory. A part of the love I had poured into each day we spent together. I had gotten used to those bright, sparkling eyes looking at me every morning, familiar with the gentle rustling sounds that signaled life returning day by day. And now, the moment of letting go felt like a blade cutting deep into my chest. I thought it would be just a goodbye, but what she did next left me speechless, and to this day, I still cannot forget it. As the cage door slowly opened, I could barely breathe. I kept telling myself to stay strong, that this was the best thing for her to go back to where she belongs, back to the trees, to the open skies and her freedom. But right then, I could feel every beat of my heart, as if it was trying to hold on to something fragile. The little squirrel stayed still, her eyes shining bright, her body trembling just a little, as if she could sense the weight of the moment. I waited for her to dash out, but what happened next stunned me. Instead of running straight into the woods, she stepped out slowly, paused at the edge of freedom. She turned to look at me, as if asking, "Is it okay for me to go now?" In that moment, the whole world seemed to go quiet. I felt something rising in my chest, a mix of heartache and warmth. Then suddenly, she did not run away. Instead, that little squirrel leapt straight toward me, climbed onto my shoulder just like she had done when she was weak and recovering. I froze, unable to believe my eyes. That was no longer the instinct of a wild animal, it was a conscious choice, a deeply emotional decision. I could feel her soft fur brushing against my neck, hear the quiet sound of her breathing right next to my ear. Her tiny paws rested on my shoulder like an embrace, as if saying, "Thank you, I am not quite ready to leave you yet." In that moment, I realized that what we give our care, our patience, our love never truly disappears. It becomes etched into the memory of that small creature. And now, she was giving something back in a way no words could ever fully express. I had heard many stories about the magical bond between humans and animals, but I never imagined I would witness it myself. A tiny creature, whose life depends on instinct alone, chose to stay just a little longer, not for food, not out of fear, but simply because love had truly touched her heart. I do not know how long I stood there like that. I just remember that tears welled up, blurring the world in front of me. For a moment, I wanted to hold her forever, and at the same time, I wanted to let her go, to complete this journey the right way. My heart was torn in two, but filled with a strange, overwhelming joy. Then, as if she had said her goodbye in her own way, the little squirrel gently climbed down from my shoulder. This time, her tiny feet no longer trembled. She turned back once more, her eyes shining, as if she wanted to imprint my image in her memory. And then, like a gust of wind, she darted into the green forest, vanishing among the rustling leaves. But that moment, that brief embrace, that deep look, left a mark in me that will never fade. This was no longer just about returning a wild animal to nature. It was a lesson in love, in a connection that transcends language, that goes beyond the boundaries between humans and the natural world. I know that from today, she is truly free. But I also know one thing for sure. Wherever she is in that vast forest, she carries with her a tiny piece of the love we shared. And I, too, will carry this moment with me as one of the most sacred memories of my life. As her little figure disappeared into the trees, I stood there silently for a long time, my eyes fixed on the space where she had vanished. Inside, I felt a swirl of emotions, a bit of emptiness, a touch of loneliness, but also a wave of indescribable happiness. I realized that true love always comes with letting go. We cannot hold on to a life forever. but we can give it the chance to live in the place it truly belongs. That moment reminded me of a simple truth. Every act of kindness we plant has the power to change a life, whether it is a tiny creature or a human being. To the world, that squirrel might just be a rescued wild animal, but to me, she is living proof that love does not need language, does not need promises. It only needs a heart willing to give. I once thought my mission ended the moment the cage door opened, but no, it was in that very moment that I truly understood the meaning of this journey. Every day of